You can listen everywhere to the Philip Maloney podcast.
Absolutely, intensified it. So if you want an intense burst of chili, that's a great combination. If you want a more subtle kind of experience with the chili chocolate, then it may not be your bag.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Bagage.
This
is good. I'm glad we did this because that's because you just think like, you know, when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, yeah, we're going to try some whiskeys and you're going to try some chocolate and it's going to be whatever it is. But there is some real complexity that I'm starting to appreciate around this. And it's great. So that was number 2. That was the Belvini.
Belvini Caribbean cask. One of my favourite distilleries, to be honest. They are. I probably have, in my collection, they're probably the ones that I have probably most of.
Okay.
So the next one
and they're next to the Glenfiddich, right? So this is number 3.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is a 15-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it only had to do its thing for 3 years to become a whiskey. Yep. Is that what you said before?
Yeah, that's right.
So this one's been in for another 12.
Yep.
Why? What's the significance to that?
Depending on the kind of barrel sizes, depending on the barrel types, depending on how, there's so many factors will depend of what you get at the end of it. So I think with the Glenfiddich 15, you get a Solera cask, which is like quite a creamy sherry cask.
Okay.
But it has other casks as well that form like the part to it, and then it's kind of finished in the Solera cask. What's great is it's not overpowering considering it's 15 years old and whatnot. You might think, oh my word, it's going to be really intense. It's going to this, that, and the other. They manage the cask very well, so it gives a consistent flavour profile. Mm-hmm. They will also ensure that, it's consistent all the way through. It's right. For me, it's historically, and this is why it was nice to try a very young whiskey to start off with. Historically, the idea that the older the whiskey, the better the whiskey. A little bit like wine, the older the wine, the better the wine. And it's not always the case, but they will impart different flavours and different aromas.
Yeah, well, look, I don't know if this is just something going on again or if it's a bit of trickery, but is there differences in the viscosity?
Yeah. So some will be kind of very light and almost watery. Some will be
because even just pouring this out, I felt it was like almost thicker.
Yep. And that'll probably be because of the Solera, which is, I say, more of a kind of a creamy, it's a creamy sherry.
Okay, well, you did say that, and I did hear it. And I'm wondering if that's why, but I think it genuinely did pour a little bit more.
Yeah, and you will find one further down the line,
which I like.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're going to do with this little number is we're going to go on to the Orange Intense.
We like the Orange Intense.
Yeah,
just get that. Okay. Right. Orange Intense. I don't know what I'm tasting on that one as yet, but it'll be interesting to let that move around a little bit. I think it needs a bit of time.
Before you start getting the chocolate out, then.
Yeah.
Again, back of the hand, little jobby, and then go back into the glass. Get a nice breathe in, but with your mouth slightly open.
Yeah.
Now, okay, and I don't want to put persuasion into your thing at all, but
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting kind of almost kind of leather, kind of suede leather, kind
Right.
of that and kind of polished leather. Now, again, it's not to everybody's, that's not to everybody, but
Yeah.
it's like, oh, hello, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I see, like, yeah. So how I kind of I don't even know how to interpret it really, but it was definitely more musky.
Yeah.
There's definitely more of a whiskey musk to this, and I guess you could say, but I don't identify it as leathery.
Yeah.
Like that, but there's definitely a more of a, I suppose if you weren't seasoned to whiskies, you'd probably say that was harsh.
Okay.
Like a harsher type whiskey. It's not smooth. It's not. It's not sort of. It's not polished or sweet or any of those other fruity notes or what have you. It's definitely more musky.
So let
I say that, and I just got a big nose of cream going through.
Oh, absolutely. And what you'll find, and again, this is useful to know as well, is what you'll find is
it just changes.
It changes throughout the glass because it's that air getting to it that interacts.
That's weird. It literally went from a real musky, like you say, leather and things to
more creamy notes.
Yeah, I just went a little bit further out of the glass and it was there.
Which again,
I'm not going to watch this one back because I'm going to annoy myself. I'm getting a musk and I'm getting some cream now. Yeah, it is happening though. It's not.
Absolutely. And okay, so something from one of the actual like official tasting notes, or one of the tasting notes, which is very intriguing, which may kind of think is Christmas pudding, kind of that spices, the candied fruits, and oaky notes.
Yeah, the cinnamony type bits and pieces. I guess.
Ideal for Christmas.
Yeah. Right, let's try it with a bit of orange then.
Try it with a bit of orange.
Mm.
Okay. Ooh.
Well, it's not unpleasant.
So for me, it brings out that kind of almost candied orange and that kind of Christmassy notes.
Yeah. Left hand side of my tongue. What is that? That's the. Is that sour? Is that the sour side? I know you got different regions, right?
Yeah,
but it's definitely like on this side of my tongue is just tingling through that. It must be sour on this side.
It does have a little tangy sourness to it, absolutely. So, but it's that kind of again, it's slightly kind of not. I won't say kind of mulled wine, but it's that kind of mulled kind of mincemeat.
Yeah,
almost like mince pies.
Yeah, there's definitely like now on the back of my throat I'm getting that kind of where you have your cinnamon and your I can definitely get a cinnamony type spice going through. Yeah, excellent. That's very good as well.
And again, that's like, and what's really good with that for such an for a 15-year-old whiskey, that's really well priced. That rocks out around 45 pounds.
Nice.
For a 15-year-old whiskey, which can be really good value.
And that's a single malt. Should we go through okay, yeah. So I suppose cost is going to be a factor. So the Cotswolds Odyssey barley one, number one, how much is that?
Around £39.
Okay.
Yep.
So 40 quid.
Yeah, I mean we're all these three are all around that kind of 35 to 45 kind of mark.
Okay.
So the Balvenie, depending on where you get it from, will fluctuate from around 43, 44 to 50.
Okay.
And then the Glenfiddich, it's around £45 around, but again, often on special offer in the big supermarkets and stuff like that.
Right.
One thought going forward is maybe actually doing a Lidl versus Aldi own brand. So and then doing kind of.
Or we can do Harrods versus Harvey Nicks.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean it's that kind of bit. Well, it's been accessible to everyone.
If you're listening, Harrods and Harvey Nicks. Yeah?
Absolutely. But to be honest, or slash hedonism. Hedonism wines is the.
Is that top notch?
Yes. So I've had some amazing tastings at Hedonism. They are just sublime, and they've got a restaurant, Hyde.
I've only ever been to Vinopolis.
Okay. Unfortunately, Vinopolis is no longer with us.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Vinopolis. It was a blur, in fact.
I can well imagine.
Yeah. All right. So, is it a free for all on the next chocolate with that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say, I would go with that. To be honest, I would go a little bit of salted caramel. To be honest.
Okay.
Salted
caramel. God, we haven't had that in the. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. It's feeling lonely. It's feeling lonely out there.
Salted caramel. Good shout.
And again, because it kind of fits with that kind of, almost kind of sticky toffee pudding kind of element to it. So hopefully, well, let's see your verdict.
I mean, I got sticky toffee pudding straight away just with the caramel, but with the whiskey as well. Let's see how it goes. So the problem is there's definitely layers of taste. It kind of mellows out, and I feel like I should be breathing more to give it more, because every time I do take a deep breath in.
And actually, when you take a deep breath, unfortunately, it may not look brilliant on camera, but open your mouth. This is what I love about kind of whiskey tastings, because especially when you do it in a nice kind of relaxed way, and you're not throwing it down your face, and you're giving the whiskey time and a little bit of love and a little bit of care and attention, you get so much more out of it.
Well, I think it's done what whiskey does to these flavored chocolates, and it's intensified the caramel, because the caramel's sticking around now, and the sort of the alcohol from the whiskies just kind of almost pushing it around my palate in different
directions,
in different ways. It's almost like I'm just getting different flavors of caramel.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Love a bit of caramel.
Which is nice, and I can hardly remember what it first tasted like. But what were we talking about? Leather briefcases and things. Sofas.
First, first, and again, that's what's lovely about with a lot of drinks
musky
as well.
But it was musky, and this was the creamy one, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
no, I think that
you went from this is musky, this is
Yeah.
slightly leathery,
Yeah.
and I could see it in your eyes, the kind of, well, I'm not quite sure about this. I don't want to say
Yeah.
that, oh hello, and then suddenly
yeah.
it's like, oh hello, it's changed here.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because a lot of people would take a whiskey and go, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to do, where you just go, bang, no thanks, don't like whiskey. And you're exactly right, because the muskiness, and I was thinking, well, that's just like what whiskey tastes like when you first taste whiskey.
Yeah.
But then it came through, and I took another bit of it, and it went creamy. So it's definitely something to take your time over, isn't it? You know, so but I think going back to the creaminess and the caramel, it's a winner. It's a winner to have that with. I mean, I would go that number 3 Glenfiddich.
Yeah.
With the salted caramel.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I almost want to keep a bit of a note as to which ones I'd have with which. The first one was with the salted caramel, and yeah, the first Cotswold one, I would definitely say my personal choice, whatever people want to do, would be with the orange chocolate. The Belvini hazelnut all the way. Yeah. And that one is the caramel. Yeah. That Glenfiddich 15-year-old.
Absolutely. And again, this is what's lovely about kind of tasting. So yeah, I mean, similar. I mean, I love the orange intense with the Cotswolds. I think the Cotswolds is really good because it does both really well. But I think the salted caramel just hits that brief a little bit more. But the Belvini, definitely the hazelnut, just smasheroo. Delightful little bagage. And
it's really weird how it does it.
Yeah, I know. And again, what's great is the fact that, you know, for some people, and palates are different. People will go, oh, well, you know, that really worked for me. That didn't. That really worked for me. That didn't. And this is where being open, being inclusive, and just because you like that whiskey and you don't like that whiskey, doesn't mean you're any better or worse. To be honest, get in it.
I think, I mean, the purpose definitely, and it fits with my podcast sort of thing is it's open. Do you know what I mean? You know, you don't have to like it. You don't have to, try not to hate it. But if you don't like it, it doesn't really matter. And I think I'm being honest with them. They've all been whiskey. You know, so if I was to have a choice of drink, I've never really gone for whiskey as my first choice of drink when I'm out socializing. But I do have an appreciation for whiskey. So that's not to say that it just doesn't feature in my world whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? Of course it does, and it should, I think, for everybody to appreciate a good craft that is making whiskey.
Absolutely. And I think what's really good is, depending on your mood, depending on where you are, depending on the people around you, if you have and this can be from soft drinks to alcoholic drinks to whatever, if you have quite a pantheon of different flavors that you like, then it means that, you can go and kind of have a great time with all your different friends that like all different things. So you have different nights and different experiences.
Well, if you ever watch the Philip Maloney podcast, you'll see I've got quite a few different friends.
You certainly have. And
quite varied. They're quite varied.
Very, very varied. But that's great. That's the joyous experience of life. Et al.
I think so, mate. I think so too.
On a train, in a bus, in a car, on the way to your job. All alone with your kids, with your wife, or with your dog. You can listen anywhere. You can listen everywhere. To the Philip Maloney podcast.